So, for anyone new here, basically we have a new system of rating movies that I'm going to call Moviemeter. It's my new series called Moviemeter, and that's where I actually rate movies instead of just tell people about them. I think this is a pretty good step forward, but I'm going to break down how it works so people can know, and I don't necessarily have to include it every single time I make a video, and then we'll link that in the description of the video. So right here we got 5 categories, each is worth up to 2 points. Okay, basically, we've got one category that can go negative, and that's popularity. But other than that, we have genre, and this is like, does the movie actually deliver on what it promises genre-wise? Like, if it's a horror movie, then it should be true to that genre. If it's an action movie, it should be true to that genre. There's a lot of these kind of things that don't actually meet up to tone, stakes, and set pieces nowadays, and they kind of go off rails, so to speak. Craft is the other one that will be taking up 2 points. It'll be writing, directing choices, performances as a whole. And that's just talking about like how the director actually gets his people to do what, you know, they need to for the scenes, and then the performances of the actual actors and how well the writing holds up. And I put these all together because I think they actually have a lot to do with each other. And a lot of it has to do with a good director. And so the next one is cohesion and pace. This is a pretty big one for me. Does the movie flow well? Are there any dead zones and confusions? This includes like loopholes. This includes like stuff that, quite frankly, annoys me about movies where it's like, why don't the characters just do the thing? You know, we've all been there, right? The next category is memorability. This is like iconic moments, quotable lines, images that you still think of next week. It's like, how memorable is the movie? Like, did it make an impact? Did you take something from it? Was it one of those that you sat through and you just couldn't even name anything special? Or was it one that really stuck with you and you were still talking about it with your partner next week? You know, things like that. Now, the last category is actually popularity. Okay, popularity just means, what did the audience think of it? Now, on the low end, we have a -1, 0, 1, or 2. And as that goes up, we will get more points for how popular it is. Now, if a movie is so bad that it actually manages to get a 0 to 39, I mean, quite frankly, it deserves a negative point. At least that's my opinion. But yeah, basically how the point system works is 0 to 39 is going to be a -1, 40 to 59 is going to be a 0, 60 to 79, which is where most movies fall if they're at least decent, is going to be at least 1 point. And then 80% plus is going to give you your 2 points. Now, I am mainly focused on what the people thought, not what critics thought, because people matter more when it comes to these kind of things. How many times have you as a person seen a movie, loved it, and then when you go online to check the scores, it says it's much lower than you thought, and you look and, oh, no, the audience loved it, but the critics are the problem. That is what I want to try to avoid. I feel like I am trying to speak to the general audience, and I'm not here to jerk myself off as a critic. So I feel like that's an important thing to do. Now, having said that, all these points will be added up, and we'll get our final score, our final verdict on the thing. And that is as follows. So a 0 to 3 is a not recommended. This is a movie that you should save yourself the time and just skip. Okay? That's essentially what that means. A 4 to 5 is just forgettable. This movie, you probably don't want to watch again, and you'll probably pretty much forget about it pretty quick. Forgettable is basically just kind of that category where you're like, you know, it doesn't stick with you. you don't think about it that often, and it's just not something that you really care about. And it's definitely when someone suggests it, you know, like, hey, do you want to watch that again? You go, you know, it's kind of like that. Now, a 6 to 7 is worth a watch. Now, I think genuinely this is where a lot of movies are going to fall. Worth a watch is just basically saying, look, you know, sometimes forgettable movies can be worth a watch one time. Worth a watch is going to be more like, the movie wasn't groundbreaking, but you loved it, or you enjoyed it. It's one of those movies that you go to your friends and you say, no, I really thought it was good. I can't believe you guys didn't like it. This is that kind of category. This is that kind of category where you're just like, you know, I don't really care what people are saying. I liked it. And worth a watch is probably a movie that you might even see again. You might even show to other people. You might watch it again with other people just to show them the movie. Now, 8 to 10 is must see. Now, this is going to be the cliche part where I tell you that, you know, this movie is a great movie. This is a movie that you tell people about and that you definitely watch again. This is the kind of movie that you just hear about and hear about and hear about and hear about. And you can't stop fucking hearing about it because people won't shut up. This is must see is, you know, just one of those categories where it's like, we get into that whole, oh yeah, like I've seen it, you know. So must see, while it is a positive category, will most likely get into some movies that you absolutely love, but it can hit into that category where it's like, you know, of course you've seen it. You know, you've seen it, people have told you to watch it, you've already seen it. You know, maybe you're even sick about hearing about it. Must see is one of those categories that I'm worried about, because the thing is, when you do a review about a movie that's a must see, you're gonna get a lot of opinions on that. And it has to be rated well. It has to be rated well, because if you do the critic thingy and you rate a movie that is so popular with people poorly, based on your love of movies and your love of the craft and your love of everything, this is a very precarious category, because this is the one that gets you into the most trouble. For instance, Saving Private Ryan was a pretty big movie. This would have been a must-see. Titanic would have been a must-see. Okay? But if you were to tell people, like, oh, like, you've never seen the Titanic, you're gonna get into that part of it that I don't like, where it's like, those kind of people exist, where they're like, you didn't see this, you know? So, it can be good and bad, depending on what kind of person you are. Hopefully we don't get a lot of shit about it, because it does tend to be, you know, not recommended gets less shit than must see, for sure, because I've seen other people's systems. So we'll see how it goes, but that is the 8 to 10 category. So that is the full system. That's how it works. And this video will be in the description of whatever I do. So whatever I do, it'll be in the description of those Moviemeter videos. And this is just to basically explain my system, so I don't have to include this whole thing every single time I rate a video. But if you have any questions, go to the comments and ask. I will reply to you. So if you have any questions about the system, or you have any questions about how it works and it wasn't very obvious about what I said, I will reply. So, thank you for watching, and hopefully this system was fully explained.